You are now tuned in to Coffee Talk on LE Radio. Serving you up some new flavor, fresh out of ATL. Where the vibes prevail, the combos hit. You are now tuned in to Coffee Talk on LE Radio. Serving you up some new flavor, fresh out of ATL. Where the vibes prevail, the combos held between a scale of 1 to 10 exceeds 1,000. But do you feel me? Go ahead and get your cups ready as we pour into your mind, slow and steady. You may need a full cup of this. CoffeeTV.com. We got raw and adulterated conversations, live, provocative entertainment, new flavor in your ear for my podcast, talk show radio. Watch us live online in the studio. Tell a friend they can come too. Never know what's in store with the whole crew. Cause we got you. Yeah. Get here for the vibes. Follow us at LE Radio Live.
Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? Hey.
Hello.
Oh man, it is Valentine's Day, and we're here, of course, every Sunday, like we always are, from 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 7. So we got Coffee Talk Radio tonight. How are you doing tonight, Don?
I'm doing good. I couldn't really tell what was going on over here for a minute, if it was planned or if it was not planned. But anyway, it's all good. Again, like you said, it's Valentine's Day tonight, but we taking it to the dark side.
Yeah, right.
Other stuff tonight, not just the lovey-dovey parts of relationships. We have some very powerful women here with us tonight that's gonna be speaking the truth. I mean, hardcore truth, bold, straight out with it. So that's what we on tonight. We ain't all about the roses and the flowers. Where the roses and the flowers, they started off with roses and the flowers, but
Right.
we touching the dark side on Valentine's Day. So that's what we doing tonight, touching on the dark side.
Exactly. So just to kind of give you guys a sneak peek. So the title of the show tonight is Who Did I Marry? So like Don said, we have some amazing women that's on to kind of come and speak their truth. Now, but before we get them to come on, we just kind of want to talk about a few things. So we have a movie spotlight that we're going to be doing. It is a very good movie called American Skin. That has been out for about a couple weeks now. Like, it's been out for a little bit now. And when I tell you this movie kind of invokes quite a bit of emotion from a lot of people because of the subject. So just to kind of give you a tidbit about it, it is about, as you can tell, a Black man who is a retired veteran and basically comes back stateside and is working as a citizen. He was a janitor actually at a school, and he's kind to try to work on his relationship with his teenage son after the divorce that he suffered. And while doing that, on his way out, him and his son were in the car. They get pulled over. He has to get out of the car. So the police officers are telling them to get out the car. He's complying. I want you to understand. They're complying the entire time. Much like the climate is now, the son tries to pull out the phone to record because they're in fear for their lives and want to make sure that they make it home. But the police officer kind of gets jittery and starts this whole altercation with the son and ends up murdering the son. So, of course, we go through the process of, it being in the news and the media and fighting for justice for his son, only for the police officer to be acquitted and never see trial. So
Yeah.
that's a breaking point for him, as it would be for most parents. And he opts to take the take basically justice into his own hands. So we're not going to tell you the whole movie. Definitely just that synopsis alone should make you want to go and see this movie.
Right, we're not gonna tell it, but it's a good movie. Definitely, if you get opportunity to go see it. I looked at it on Prime. I'm not sure where else is streaming, but if you go to Amazon Prime Video, you can watch this movie. I was a little disappointed with how it ended. Not gonna tell you how it ended. I was a little disappointed, expecting something different.
Mhm.
But again, it's a really good movie. So if you have the opportunity, go to Prime, watch it, support our black filmmakers and black movies and everything. But definitely go out and see this movie.
Absolutely.
And again, great movie. But moving right along, we still, is asking you if you want to join another black owned. Join us on Coffee Talk, coffeetalk.com. Much similar to other platforms, but unlike Facebook, it don't have all the restrictions. You won't end up in Coffee Talk jail.
Right.
So you could post freely. It's an up and coming site, still new. It was just released about a month ago, so
Yeah.
it's still fairly new. But if you have opportunity, check it out. Coffeetalk.com. It's free to join, free speech, no coffee talk jail, no your post goes against coffee
Company
talk
guidelines.
community standards and all that other BS that some of the other platforms be on. Totally free. But that don't mean get on there and just be totally ignorant about it or an
Right.
asshole, nothing like that. Um, because you still may be kicked off, but don't just get on there and be an ass. Still get on there and be, respectful. Don't get on there posting ticks and nude pictures and stuff because this is not Pornhub or anything like that. So join, just be mindful and make sure that you are respectful, of it. So then we have our other shows, Brittany, still.
Yes,
Uh,
so we still have our other shows that we're doing. So we have on Friday, it is ATL Mix. It's at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Four awesome ladies, interchangeably hosts that are going through, that are giving you the real, raw, and uncut. Like the last show this past Friday was definitely raw and uncut, literally and figuratively, in a lot of cases. So definitely check those ladies out. They're amazing. Ask
yeah.
questions and everything, and they're very good. And then afterwards, immediately afterwards at 10:15, you have the Poetic Soul Artistry, which I host. And I have a revolving door of guest poets that come on and basically just tear it down with the talent and everything. Last Friday we had an amazing poet Rewap on. So like every Friday I'm trying to bring something new to you, poets that you may have heard, you may not have heard, just to come and support. If you wanted to kick a piece or two, you're definitely more than welcome to. We can open it up for an open mic. So that's on Friday. Then we have noon on Saturday. We have Random Acts of Healing with the Hood Doctor, Ami Brown, who was amazing in herself, kind of giving you that fresh start to the weekend, helping you get in touch with yourself, check in with yourself, your health, and everything like that. Talking about your organs, your meridians, just giving you very good advice on how to take better care of you. And then on Sunday, you have us here at Coffee Talk Radio. This starts at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then after that, on a in and out basis, we'll also have our Shy City Cafe featuring the Les Boys as well. That'll be on immediately after the show at 7:15. So we got a lot coming up, a lot of different things for everybody to come. Stay tuned in and watch something for everybody. It is streamed on Facebook, it is streamed on YouTube, it is streamed everywhere. So even if you don't catch it live, you can still go back and watch it, comment. We still read the comments, we still interact. So definitely just be viewing. But you'll also know everything from once you log into coffeetalk.com. So
Yes, and Again, make sure you check out the young lady. They are millennials and they have a lot to say. And as Brittany was saying, last Friday's show was off the chain, pretty interesting to I don't even want to get into it,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
definitely check it out. They were talking about dating men and the beauty of uncircumcised versus a circumcised penis. So if you're
hence
interested,
the word cut uncut.
go check out that
Yeah,
show. It was
yeah,
very interesting to it was
very.
very interesting to say the least. Um and I was reading a comment here and she said it isn't what is it? She just checked, it's not available on Prime anymore.
Oh, so they must
Oh
be taking it
wow.
down from Prime. So
They
you may
took
have to research where to go and find it now. I
it
haven't
right.
heard anything
I purchased
really.
it when it was on Prime. I purchased it.
Hmm,
But I don't know how that go if I could share it, but I did purchase it.
hmm,
But moving right along, we're gonna go ahead on and get ready to get into the show tonight. And again, we are talking about who did I marry?
right, right.
Who did I
So we
marry?
have a couple questions to ask and to kind of keep in your mind as we go through the show of who did I marry.
Hmm.
So we're going to put the questions up in just a moment just to kind of think about. So kind of think of different things like in a relationship, who do you think should manage the household? Do you believe in traditional gender roles? And different conversations and questions like that. Are there certain things like should you have to discuss finances with your partner? Should one person be in charge of the finances in the relationship, or should it be a collaborative effort? And there's like different things like that because I think when people get into relationships, oftentimes because we're so enamored with the individual, sometimes red flags, like what we talked about last week, can go unnoticed. And even just completely disappear in our minds because there's the individual, like we said previously, is giving you a representative. So that representative looks good, looks damn good, talks well, has everything it is that you want and need them to be.
Says all the right things, all
Yes.
everything. They just perfect. But with that, before we get into the conversation, we do have Black Fire on.
Yeah.
So we're gonna bring on. She was on the show, been on the show, this show on LE Radio with us. But I'm just gonna go ahead on and add it to the stream with us.
Hey, 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 hey.
Hello, hello, Blackfire. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I just want to say thank you so much for sharing space with us,
Thanks
emotional
for having
space
me.
with us for this, because this is kind of a heavy topic. So I definitely want to acknowledge the fact that you are allowing us to share that with you. So thank you for that.
No problem.
Right.
Thanks for
And
having me.
yeah, before we get into the show, can you tell them a little bit about you being a life coach for? I'm sorry,
Ever.
forever. Go ahead,
Forever.
give an introduction right quick.
Well, I'm Blackfire. I'm known as Blackfire, Onyx, Nita. I am a certified professional life coach. I prefer the term enlightenment coach because I feel like I'm grown, you grown. I can't tell you how to live your life, but I can enlighten you to a better way of doing it, to a way that will work for you. I'm also a published author. I write erotic fiction, alternative fiction, chick lit, I guess is what they call it. I don't know, because I guess men like my books too. Yeah, I think they do. And I'm also a wedding and event coordinator as well. I wear a lot of hats, but I try to hold it down on a lot of different levels. But definitely life coaching is my passion. I've pretty much been doing that, helping everybody my whole life.
Excellent, excellent, and that's important. And oftentimes people, when they're going in relationships and they're seeking out guidance, they kind of hold people like yourself in certain positions to a very high standard when it comes to relationships. When it's like, well, no, like everybody can be fooled.
Yep, we all
So
human.
it makes you more relatable. Like I'd be more pressed to talk to you about my relationship issues because you've been through the same thing.
Definitely, definitely.
That's definitely important and that's good. Where can people find you before we get into the topic? Like where can they find your website or your links?
I am on all social media platforms. I have several pages for all my different sides of myself. I'm on Facebook, Black Fire, Onyx the Authoress, Live Enviously, which is my coaching company. Also on Instagram and Twitter with those same names. Um, then I have a podcast that I do that's on Anchor, and it's called Live Enviously with a Purpose. And I haven't really been that good this year, but I try to do at least one podcast a month when time allots itself. And then I also have a written blog that follows that as well, which is also just liveenviously.com. And I make sure Don has all the information to post somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. Well, like I said, thank you again for coming on to the show. So do you want to start to get into the topic now?
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead on and get into the topic, and I guess I'm gonna start it off with this question, because this question, this right here, is really big to me.
Mm-hmm.
In relationships, are both spouses equally responsible for financial decisions, meaning that 50-50 rule? Some people believe in the 50-50 rule, some people don't. I know it's common in same-sex relationships, especially with lesbians. They more so have that 50-50. We splitting everything down the middle. I'm not sure how it works in heterosexual relationships, um, but if you a man and you saying your wife got to pay half of the bills, I don't know about I don't know about that, because I don't want to sound like I have like double standards, but I know if I was married to a man, you paying you it ain't no 50-50. It's not gonna be 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have some women who make more than the male. So I'm not really sure. For me, I think it depends on the person you with. Some people have a flat standard of women, some have a flat standard, it's 50-50. Then you have some women out there who feel like, hey, it's you gonna pay, you paying for everything. But that gets into the next question of, do you believe in traditional gender roles? Will go back to this 50-50 rule, because you have some people who out here and they studs. I'm a stud. So some films put them in the category of a male, to say you have to pay all these bills because you want me to respect you as a male. So if I'm gonna respect you as a male, you're gonna have to pay the way as if you are a male. So then you have the I can't even think right now. It's it's the 50-50 is a really hard thing, because a lot, like I said, it depends on the person. Because I've dated females who felt 50-50. I've dated females who was like, you paying for everything. So
Mm-hmm.
it just really depends on who you with. And I don't mind carrying the weight, but if I'm carrying the weight and I get into a situation and I need your help, I'm expect you to have my back and bail me out at that moment. If I come to you and I say, yo, sweetie, this happened, that happened, I'm gonna need a little help this month. So if I say that to you and I'm the one carrying all the weight and I say this to you, then my expectations is, if I come to you and need something, you should be able to have my back when it comes to a financial situation. Should something or anything pop up, don't just leave me out there to try to figure shit out. Like, have my back. Like, so Brittany, Onyx, one of y'all want to jump in here?
Okay. So it's funny because I literally did a live similar to that question about the 50-50 rule this morning, because I'm in a lot of different Facebook groups and I'm in heterosexual groups. I don't care if it's good conversation, I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
And what I know, and I have a lot of heterosexual couples that I coach with the relationship side of my coaching business. And the 50-50 rule is a problem across all of them,
Okay.
simply because we were raised with certain, what I like to call societal constraints.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, if you think back to what our grandparents taught us, and they all go back to what they were taught, which is most of our parents, was the Bible. And it was, the husband is supposed to be a provider, a protector. He's supposed to have a submissive wife. And he who findeth the wife findeth the good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We take that into our lives and we're not realistic with it. Like, you got these women who literally feel like, oh, I am a woman. I am exalted. I am the bringer of life. You are supposed to worship me and take care of me and provide for me. And if you can't, poo poo to you. And it's like, wait a minute. So what, you sitting on platinum or something? Because what if you're not bringing any relationship foundational components to the mix? What if your partner, who you're expecting to fiscally provide for you, is providing everything else that the relationship needs? Then don't that mean you should pay him or her? It's like, I feel like, and I guess because I was raised by my dad, people say, well, you tend to protect the men. And it's not a matter of protecting them. It's just that when you really look at it, or masculine identify for that matter, you just have to look at the ideology of, you get out of it what you put into it.
Exactly.
And if we're supposed to be partners, then we're supposed to be partners. And that means we're in it equally. And then there will be people where, one makes more. Like you and your wife not both gonna show up and, on the first date, what you make? Okay, well, this what I make. Let's compare tax returns. Okay, good, we compatible. Somebody's always gonna pick up the slack somewhere.
Right.
And in my mind, that should be okay, because where I fall short, you come long, and vice versa. And that's what a relationship is supposed to be. When we slap all these ideals on it, a fiscal responsibility, we then turn the relationship into a business deal.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Absolutely. And a lot of that, just for me being from my generation, and my thoughts on it, as far as like the relationship and the 50-50 rule, I agree. I feel like that where I fall short, you should take up the slack. However, I also feel like, and I'm of the mindset that, there's somebody out there for everyone. So just like there's that woman out there that feels like she's the queen, she doesn't have to do anything. All she has to do is just be beautiful, and that's it. There's a man out there that wants a woman that all she does is just look good, and he'll do the rest. So I think what my issue is with it is when you have people that are fundamentally not compatible forcing something. Because if you know, okay, so you get this woman that looks really good and she keeps herself together, and she doesn't work, she just wants to be this, and you get with her, you understand that that's who she is for face value. You can't then get in a relationship and then down and something happens and then expect her to no longer be who she was from face value. You're now expecting her to be this co-provider. You're expecting her to do all of these things that when you met her, she was not doing. It's the same as with a man on the other side to it too. If you get with a man who is for face value, this is what he is. You can't get into a relationship and think that, okay, halfway through, because you're the exception to the rule, you can change things and make him more of a provider or more of this or more of that, if that's not how he is or how he operates. So it's kind of like, for me personally, just kind of like a really big gray area. I just like to talk and talk and talk until we understand where we're both coming from and meet each other there. If I'm more of a mind or traditional mindset where I prefer my partner to be the head of the household and take care of, these set things, then I also know that, okay, well, if they're taking care of this, this is my responsibility. So I need to be with someone who's okay with taking the trash out, because I hate touching the trash. That's just this thing for me. Just to give me something. I hate touching the trash. I hate it. My father never let me, my mother, or any woman touch the trash. That's how I was raised. So that's the thing for me. Anything car maintenance. Do I know how to do some maintenance on my car? Yes, but my father never let us do any of that. He didn't even like us putting gas in our car. So there's certain things that I grew up with that I look for when I look in a partner, and I kind of look to see if my partner does those things that I require. And that's how I base our compatibility on. So to get back to the point, 50-50 is a thing, yes. Um, can it work? Absolutely. But I think after being honest with who you are and who you're with, will it actually work?
Exactly. You have to be upfront. That goes back to the communication part. And last week we did a whole show about red flags in relationships. And a lot of times people overlook these red flags and they carry that, and then they end up saying yes to a marriage when they knowing it's already issues. They're going in here and they're not being upfront with themselves. They're not being honest with their partners. So they're entering a marriage, a contract that they haven't fully disclosed their requirements, certain things that they expect, certain things, about being, like Brittany said, it's a co-provider, then the main provider.
Right.
It's not necessarily 50-50, but it's still a co-provider. So you still have to hold your weight. If you got somebody paying all the bills, you still need to cook dinner or do something. So don't get into a relationship with somebody, and then you as a provider also need to lay that down. Like, oh, if I'm gonna pay all these bills, then yeah, you want to be at home, you want to be a housewife, I'm gonna pay all these bills, then at least cook a dinner, make a lunch, wash a pair of underwear, something, do something. Don't just sit at home all day watching Atlanta Housewives and all these shows, looking at women fighting and going to get your hair, and then you expect me to pay for your hair and nails and all this. You want to look good and just lay on the couch. But that goes back again to people, some people, both male and female across the board, they get with a woman just because she look good, a trophy piece. But they don't understand you have to keep that trophy piece looking like a trophy piece. And sometimes they get into these relationships, started off, and then now they don't want to keep that trophy piece looking like a trophy piece. So guess what the trophy piece gonna do? She gonna leave you and go to somebody else that's gonna pay those expenses to keep her looking like a trophy piece, and just keep hopping, hopping, and hopping, and hopping. You got to be real careful with the trophy pieces. If you got to be real careful, and find out if they getting their nails done, or when they went on that date with you, did somebody else get them toes and nails done and that hair done so they could look good to come on that date with you? You need to be asking questions about why they looking good, because if you get with them and they're not able to keep this up, then 99% of the time they was with somebody who was keeping it up so they look good enough to attract you. So now you have to take on the responsibility of maintaining that trophy piece. So you have to ask the right questions. And sometimes we don't ask these questions because we're so in lust with a person that we don't want to ask the wrong question. We try so hard up front to say the right thing or what sounds good to a person to lure them in. And I know during my dating phase, a lot of times women refer to me as an asshole. Honest, no, because we used to talk about it. They refer to me as an asshole. No, I'm not an asshole. I'm being upfront. I'm telling you what it is. So take it or leave it, but I'm telling you what it is, and I'm asking certain questions. I do not feel I was an asshole, but I'm giving you an option of what you want to deal with.
Right.
So, yeah.
We have a comment. So Sonia Cooper, she says hello from Jackson, Mississippi. What's up, Jackson,
Hey.
Mississippi? So yeah, and please feel free to comment and let us know like how you feel about the 50-50 as far as the traditional gender roles, because the traditional gender roles conversation I'm still on the fence and plagued by, because me and Jessica Holter, had a conversation about the traditional woman and the traditional wife and what that looks like, and how now that's basically almost non-existent. And to me, growing up, I grew up with my mother and my grandparents, so I got to see a loving relationship with two people that were married for a very long time. My grandfather was in the military, so my grandmother primarily took care of the children. However, my grandmother wasn't just like a typical housewife either. She had two master's degrees. She was a teacher. She taught special education. My grandfather was educated, worked for the post office. So my grandmother took care of home, absolutely. She absolutely ran the household. Like anything, what my grandmother said goes, even when it came to my grandfather. My grandfather did primarily take care of the finances as far as like the bills and maintaining everything. They had seven children together. So I did have an example of the traditional woman, but it seems like now in society, I don't think that's a realistic thing anymore. It seems like to be able to be a traditional woman or a traditional wife in that sense of staying at home? Because I don't know any stay at home women, because a lot of women are doing it by themselves, unfortunately.
Or they're the head of the household and
Right.
they're
That
not
too.
doing all of the responsibility. So yeah, the traditional gender roles kind of played out a little bit. As far as I could see, is like you said, I don't really can't really think of a lot of stay at home moms staying at home getting the kids ready to go to school. And then even with the school system, a lot of the kids is online at home and then the COVID thing. But all that is a totally another conversation. Um, but again, we just don't ask the right questions up front. Uh, and we end up marrying people we really don't know.
Mhm.
So when you get into these relationships like debt, for example, when you're going into a marriage, you need to have a conversation about what type of debt do you have. Besides the basic car note, most people know if they see you driving a new car, 90% of the time you got a car note, you got a car insurance, you got life insurance. But what about those credit card bills? While you out whining and dining, you swiping these credit cards, and now they maxed out and you marry, like what type of debt do you have? You go to make a major purchase, you want to purchase a home together, and then when you get ready to purchase this home together, you find out your spouse got a negative 400 credit score, and you got and you got this cosign for everything. And no, I'm serious. I know somebody who, and I didn't think a credit score could get that low, but they had a 287 credit score. I
Wow.
had no idea a credit score could be
Wow.
that freaking low. They absolutely could not get anything. And it was a big strain on that person's relationship. It was a bit strain, a huge strange strain. I'm sorry, y'all know what I'm trying to say. I'm getting tongue
Saying,
tangled.
yeah.
Strain on the relationship. Yeah, they and I didn't when I say I had no idea that it could get that low. But I work with the person, so they ain't came up until like the five. So it's slowly, it takes a minute. And that's a whole nother show I'm gonna do because we out here paying for credit repairs and stuff. And this is stuff that we could do on our own. We could do it on our own to get them credit scores right and keep them up because again, going into a marriage, maybe not when you dating, certain questions you shouldn't ask, but if you talking about marrying somebody and you and propose, those are the times when those conversations about credit scores and financial debt and all that stuff, it needs to be conversations about that. So like I said, you getting ready to purchase a home together or something happened with a car and it's like I see Showstopper trying to come in down there. I'm seeing her twice. I don't know which one she on. So we're gonna bring her in a minute. But yeah, you need to have them questions, ask those questions up front.
I
You
have a
see it.
question for you, Black Fire, in regards to that. So, in your experience when dealing with couples, is couples therapy a thing? Like pre-marriage, like are people actively doing like couples counseling prior to
Um,
getting married?
it's not as prevalent as it used to be. But I've been planning weddings and stuff since 2000. So with me, my major in school was psychology. So it was something I would recommend to all of my planning clients.
Hmm.
So as I moved more into the coaching realm, I would get clients who would, if they're coming in as an individual, but 80 to 90% of their life issue seems to revolve around intimacy and love issues, I typically request that they bring their mate into the fold if they have one at some point. Because what I learned is just like we talked about on the last show, how you meet a person's representative, even as a life coach, you're going to meet their representative. You're going to meet who they want you to meet because even though they're paying you, nobody wants to look bad.
Hmm.
So, like me, for instance, to just piggyback it to go with tonight's topic, I was married for 5 years. The relationship was 10 years. And my spouse had huge issues going into the relationship. So I kept pushing therapy, go to therapy, go to therapy, go to therapy. And to correlate with the representative thing, one day her therapist asked that I come in. And the therapist is sitting there talking to her. And I'm sitting here listening, like, wait a minute, this lady talking like I'm the problem. So I said, excuse me. So she's been coming to you for over a year. Has she never told you about the 3 affairs? Did she not tell you that, she doesn't like my child? And the therapist is sitting there like, what? What? I said, oh, she's been sitting here crying her eyes out with the woe is me, that I'm just this mean partner and I'm just doing everything bad and I'm withholding sex and I'm controlling and this. And this woman had no idea that I wasn't just doing this stuff, that she had done things. So it's the representative, even in therapy, even in coaching. So when I'm coaching a singular person, it's always imperative, if a lot of their dysfunction is their relationship, the partner has to come in, because you guys aren't going to be 100% transparent when you're in your individual zone, because you're going to tell the story from your point of view.
Right. And that's why I asked about that, because it seems like, to piggyback off of Don, what you were saying about the what kind of debt you're in and everything like that, it seems like these types of questions and topics would come up well before the actual marriage itself. Like, it would seem that these would be important. So we have a comment from Sonia Cooper that says, I believe people should learn how to be responsible for self first before jumping into marriage. But unfortunately, some women and men are looking for someone to take care of them or at least help. A lot of single parents are struggling to maintain the household and attempting to force an irresponsible parent to help provide, and sometimes it just doesn't work. Exactly. Absolutely. I firmly believe that and agree with that statement, as far as, people trying to find relationships because they need help. I think what we talked about the last time, homosexuals, with people who are just get into relationships so they can have somewhere to sleep at night, and and be able to be provided assistance and supported. And then also too, like you said, you have these parents that for so long pre-pandemic really didn't have to do anything with their children or help their partner in any significant way, were able to live, completely free and autonomous, to now everybody needs help because, loss of job, or like you said, the virtual learning and everything. So it's a lot. It's definitely a lot for a lot of people. So it looks like we're actually going to add one of our other guests in as well. So she can kind of weigh in on the subjects. Hello, Miss Shy Stopper. How are you?
Hi, happy V Day for everybody.
Happy V Day to you as well. I love your background. It's looking very
Girl,
cute.
listen, this is inside of my house.
Mm-hmm.
I bought myself my own Valentine's balloons.
Yes.
And then I got like lights going around. They change colors, honey, and I got a pole.
Yes. Yes. For the poll.
Listen, you don't have to leave to go see the freak. She is right here, okay? If I was with someone, that's what I would definitely do.
Yeah.
But
Well, thank you so much again for contributing to the show tonight. We know it's a kind of a heavy topic on Valentine's Day, but it's definitely important. So we appreciate you allowing us to share that space with you today.
absolutely, thank you for even wanting to invite me. I actually, being that people were talking about why did I get married, it was like, why didn't I stay married was my question. Because I was married for 5 years and we've been divorced now for 3. And no one really knew that I was married. It was very private because me being an entertainer, it could work for you and then it might work against you. So me and my husband at the time decided that I would keep something private because the world's already involved in the showstopper. And so we just didn't share that news. But then sometimes I feel like if I would it have saved my marriage if people knew I was married versus not knowing? So
Yeah.
it's a
Oh,
pretty
wow.
heavy question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that you said that. But before I comment, piggyback, Can you briefly introduce yourself so people know who you are,
Yeah,
Siren?
because y'all family to me, so I just started
Yeah.
talking to y'all. But hi everyone, thank you for sitting down with us. I am so happy to be a part of the Coffee Talk. My name is Showstopper. I am a entertainer. I've been with the Punani Poets for been about 4 or 5, maybe 6, no longer. I was married before I got married. I was with you guys. I was married for 5, so about 7 years. I am also a personal trainer by day. I'm also a massage therapist, and then at night, to help run my business, especially through this COVID time, I do private shows online. I also do private events, and I am partially franchiser of a wonderful dance studio called Vertical Joe's Fitness, and we do a lot. That's what's been keeping me going as well, being online, teaching classes, and motivating other women across the world, because it's tough right now for all of us, especially as a woman and a woman of color. It is tough. So that's me in a nutshell.
Yay. Where can people go to look up these classes and everything?
So if you want to look at the classes that I offer online, you can go to verticaljoesfitness.com. It's here in Atlanta. We have online courses from pole for newbies. We have voluptuous curves for the women that are, you have to be a size, I do believe a size 10 and up. Anything smaller than that, you are not welcome. Okay. You are not going to say you are thick. Okay. And we have twerk classes. We just did something for the couples yesterday called lap dance for couples, and it's pretty dope. So just go to Vertical Joe's Fitness, spelled exactly how it sounds, and check out our classes. And if you don't have a pole at home, ladies, we do offer these beautiful things for you. Can you see it? Yep. You see my that's my pole meat. I call that my pole meat. Yeah. That's the only meat I get is my pole. So, yes. So you ladies are more than welcome. Ladies and men as welcome. We actually have, I do believe Bentley is his name. He's one of the most profound pole dancers for men that put the stilettos on and give us life. So Vertical Joe's Fitness. Or you can follow my Instagram. I don't know if you guys can see it, but my Instagram is up. You actually can look on my Instagram and locate the page that way as well. That can make it easier.
Got it. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much for that. So just kind of also introduce, we have Black Fire on as well. So we were basically, when you came in, we were talking about people and their representatives, and when starting in relationships, how it's easy for individuals to kind of come into a relationship, with their best face on as their representative and not really their true selves. And then at some point later on down the line, that mask kind of cracks. It gets to a point where those red flags that we were looking at, not really paying attention to, kind of start to show up more and make sense.
Yeah. And that is definitely, I think, partially why my marriage didn't work, because I married his representative. He was a gentleman. I met him at the strip club. He would come in and he would stand in a corner while I would dance on the other side of the room, and he would have the waitresses come and give me $100 bills at a time. That was nice to me, because in Atlanta, men don't do that. Our women don't do that. They want to rub dollars in between your butt cracks. They want to do crazy stuff.
Right.
So it was like, wow, he was different, but that wasn't who he really was. And I had just came out of a relationship with a woman. So being that I was kind of vulnerable, and I wanted love, I kind of met him on a whim. And the next thing I know, a year later, we was married. And it was like, the more that once he became my husband, he felt like he no longer was, I guess, courting me, but he owned me. I wasn't his partner. I was like his property. And that's a big difference in marriages. People need to understand that you become one, not, oh, well, you belong to me. And it started to be very malicious. He was like a malicious supporter. Like he would come to the shows, but then on the way home, I'm getting verbally abused. I'm getting made to be small. Like, oh, you think you bad because everybody loved the Showstopper, but you can't even have kids. Which It
Wow.
wasn't that I couldn't have babies. I just wasn't spiritually becoming one with him. Because
Mhm.
like I said, I wasn't his partner, I was his property. And I, prayed to God, like, help me have a baby to prove that I'm a woman. Like he had me question me being a woman.
Wow.
And no matter if you're married to a man or a woman, sometimes our partner will question you, like of your ability and accountability of who you are. And I literally would cry about that. And no one knew it because on camera, hey, I'm smiling. I got my representative. But I was broken. And I ended up getting pregnant, but I miscarried. And
Mm.
God came to me and told me that, not to get too spiritual, that you didn't ask to be a mother. You asked to get pregnant. And I gave you that ability, but it's not for him.
Mm.
And that's when I had to walk away. And then 2 years later, I have the most beautiful baby named Zaire Alon. Oh my God, my son is amazing.
He's so cute, like gorgeous.
So I believe sometimes his true representative was a gentleman, but he was a malicious supporter.
Mm. And that's something that unfortunately happens a lot to people who are in the limelight, regardless of what industry they are in entertainment. That's a reoccurring thing where you'll have someone that absolutely loves what it is that you do while they're not in a relationship with you. But then once you get in that relationship, it's, oh, well, I don't want you to do it anymore. Because I was in a similar situation. I was in a relationship. They saw me performing as a spoken word. I was traveling at this time on tour. They saw me, knew it, loved the fact that I was performing, loved everything about it. We got into a relationship. It's, well, you're always leaving. Why are you always going? You're always going here. You're always going. You don't ever spend time with me. You don't do, to the point where it made me question, like, well, I actually stopped performing for about 6 months. Like to the point where I couldn't even be creative anymore. Like that, like the words weren't coming out, nothing, because they just made me feel so bad for something that initially they absolutely loved about me.
Acting.
And that was that representative there, where it was kind of like completely switched it on and off. We have another comment to yours. Sonia says, sounds as if he was more of a predator and wanted someone to abuse. She said, wonderful to know that you've gotten out of that horrible marriage and have been blessed with a child. So that was a comment from Sonia
So
Cooper.
yeah, Ashay, like it. Yeah, I could say he was a predator. He definitely was, because it was more so of trying to break. Like for some reason, like you said, they love what they see, and what they see wasn't representatives. It's who we were. Like we were in our zone, our passion. But once they got a hold, it's like, okay, what can I do to stop this? Because I don't want everybody to see what I saw.
Right.
I've still gotta provide. We still have to bring money in. And it just wasn't healthy. And I tried to make it work and didn't want to feel like a failure. But it was like times where I would be laying next to him and I used to wake up with energy. Like, you guys know, I'm like, yeah, everybody, let's do this. But I would wake up from him and feel so drained.
Mm.
And even with you, it sounds like when your words couldn't flow and you couldn't be you, they're like called vampires. They're
Yeah.
like human vampires. They suck energy. Vampires is what it's spiritually called. Where if they land with you and you're spooning and your chakras are aligned and you wake up feeling like you just got hit by a bus, but they waking up feeling great about themselves, they just took from us. And we're
Right.
supposed to fill each other up. And when I started to just get more spiritual, I just knew it was time for me to walk away. And it was hard. It was so hard. But once you walk away, it's like the light bulb comes on. God starts blessing you. Because
Yeah.
sometimes if you feel like you're missing a blessing, if your marriage is not equally yoked, sometimes if you feel like you're missing a blessing, God will slow your blessings down because
Absolutely.
he don't want to share those blessings that's for you with that partner that's not for you. See what I'm saying? So once I remove myself from him, I mean, I can't complain. Like life is good. Marriage is beautiful when it's just it comes together. But when it's feel like you're fighting and forced to do it, it's like I love Don's relationship and Jessica. Like they give me hope that one day, and this big old heart of mine, the right person gonna come along and sweep me off my feet, y'all, and I'm gonna be floating everywhere. Where's Siren at? We're showstoppers floating. That's what I want. I want to float.
Yeah, because I
So
didn't think I was gonna ever get married, but
Oh Lord.
I remember.
you say you remember Onyx.
I remember when I first met you. Like
Yeah,
I didn't even see you and Jessica, but when it's a purpose and there, it's there. Like you're a breath of fresh air for her. You're a peace for her. And it's not easy. Nothing's easy. But
not
it's
none
just
of it easy. Nothing,
and
because
you guys are growing. You got your podcast back. Like you're growing. Like that's what we're supposed to do in marriage is grow together, not be
right,
stuck in the same position. If I was with you and you was doing whatever you was doing and we didn't grow from that, either it's me or you.
right, exactly. And that's why I dated somebody, like what y'all was saying, who when she started dating me at the time, I had the magazine. I was
Right.
doing a lot of fashion shows and putting on a lot of fashion shows and had the podcast and everything. But this young lady, she did the opposite. It was like, you dating me and you want to be in a relationship with me, but you was jealous. So she tried to take over everything. She like tried to take control of everything that I was doing. She wanted to start managing everything, and it was causing a huge conflict for the people that I was working with because they were so used to working with me, and I deal with people totally different than what she dealt with them. But she came in and she wanted to just take over everything, and it was draining for me, and it caused some relationships because I had to sever some relationships because of things that she had done. And later on in the future, she went on and continued to work with those people, and I didn't care that she went head on to work with them because I had to pull back because it was just toxic, it was stressful, it was just too much going on, and she was like literally draining the crap out of me.
The
Just,
vampire, energy vampire.
yeah, she was draining everything. So I was just like, look, if that's what you want to do, you do it. You work with whoever you want to work with. I'm a step back from this situation. And she was just so up and down, in and out, in and out. And I was like, man, me and Onyx used to talk about it for hours at a time. She was just,
Yes.
Could have
I
been
mean,
undiagnosed bipolar, friend. A lot of us don't be getting tested for that stuff, but sometimes when they go up and down like that, she could have been bipolar.
I don't know what she was, but it was draining, and she started to take over a lot of stuff, and it did affect a lot that I was doing at the time. It did affect the shows and stuff because, like y'all, I got to a point where I was like, fuck it, I ain't even want to do the fashion shows or nothing no more. I was just like, fuck it, I'm not gonna even doing them because every time I set
That's
up
the
for something,
person for
she
you.
just come in and just take over. And then the last time when I was doing something, I was like, you know what? She could have the show. You could work with her. I'm done. And I just walked away from it. I was like, y'all could do it. And then I stopped modeling. I stopped doing fashion shows. I stopped because it was just too much. And I was like, she could have it. So she did it for a minute, then it just went
Oh, and
like,
that's yeah, and that's the thing. Like when it's your partner, and then my take on marriage is I don't want to say I don't want to get married again because I deserve to be a beautiful wife. I need the wedding. I want to just feel like loved and just not smothered, but just over loved. But sometimes you feel like, who came up with the whole marriage thing anyway?
Somebody who
right.
wanted a lot of control.
Exactly. You see
I
what I'm
mean,
saying?
if
Like, where in the Bible does it say now? If we now trying to be spirit, I'm more spiritual than religion. Like religion is for people. No offense to people that may be religion. Don't quote me on this. Don't try to come sue me. But religion is so confusing and it keeps us separate. I'm more spiritual. I'm more in tune with my God, which is the same God we all know. I'm more in tune with my ancestors that are protecting me as I walk through this until I go through my transition. But it's confusing because in the Bible, if you look at the Bible, it says a man who finds a wife finds a good thing. Doesn't say love, doesn't say respect, doesn't say honor. It just says finds her, right?
Control.
Then it says
Possession.
a woman is to honor and respect her husband. It has nothing about love. So if I had to rely on that Bible to help me, I would be so jacked up, in my opinion. Hear me out, y'all out there. That's my opinion.
So
I would be
Onyx, how do
confused
you
because I
feel
need answers, Onyx.
Well,
Yeah.
fundamentally, it's funny. I was one of the few wedding planners that was heavy on the scene back in the 90s, early 2000s, who was not married. I am not a huge proponent of marriage because to me, marriage itself is an emotional covenant. It's just like when somebody says, I want to make love to you. You cannot make an emotion based off of a physical interaction. You can enhance upon or take away from, but and you can sex me real good, but there is no way on God's green earth, unless you loved me before we laid down in the bed, can you ever make love to me. The same thing goes with the marriage. It's a spiritual
Again,
and emotional covenant. That piece of paper, just like your social security number, makes it a business transaction. They keep track of marriage certificates so they can keep track of fiscal unions. That's why they ask you on your taxes, do you want to be head of household, married filing jointly, or married filing separately? They want to know what's popping in your house. And when you look at marriage as a whole, like you said about the Bible verse, I talked about that in my live this morning. He who found a wife findeth a good thing. You are correct. It says nothing about love. He finds a good thing. What is a thing? A possession.
what did I say about my ex-husband?
You were a
He
possession.
treated me like property once we got married, not like I was his partner, his equal.
And that's what it comes down to. Now, to take it a step further and to go more over into a different realm, even when you look at alternative lifestyles, we've talked about people playing roles and the hats that they wear, right? Me, I was a professional dominatrix. When I got with my wife, I told her that. When I started writing my novels, I told her, when you read these books, you are going to be like, whoa, what the hell were you into? I said, but don't ask me to introduce that to you because that is not something that I would introduce into the covenant of my marriage.
Right.
Only because, not that it had anything to do with the kinky sex, because people hear dominatrix and they think, ew, kinky sex. No, it's a lifestyle.
It's a little more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's a lifestyle. But even when you have doms, I told people 50 Shades of Grey ruined people's view on the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because now you got these chicks out here looking for a daddy dom, and what they're finding are sociopaths. Because Christian Grey was an anomaly. You're not going to find that millionaire bad boy who's going to tell you when to eat, when to sleep, when to poop, what birth control to take, when to wash your behind.
Was doing it at one point.
Yeah, but see here, and this is the point I was getting to stand in that role, to wear that hat, you have to have all the facets of all the different types of fortitude, meaning emotional, psychological, physical, and financial,
Right.
to hold that role. You can't tell me I can't work if you can't pay my mortgage.
Hello.
You know, and not that I would want somebody to pay my mortgage,
y'all.
because it goes deeper then into the control rabbit hole. Right. It's like we're as women, we're running around like Alice out here. You know, we don't know what rabbit hole we finna fall down, because yes, he can pay all the bills. He can be that provider and that protector and everything. But what's the trade-off? Right. What part of your freedom are you giving up? And this goes for women in women relationships as well. What part of your freedom are you giving up? And people say, well, how are you a wedding planner but you don't believe in love? I am a hopeless romantic. I believe in the beauty of love. But I also have love is suicide tattooed across my chest. And people say, well, what, love make you die? I said, no, it's actually a beautiful sentiment. It means something that people always forget when they get married. You have to kill off the part of yourself that operates as an individual to effectively be part of a collective. And that's what we don't want to do. We want to get into the marriage and still do me.
Right. Yes. So
we
basically,
do us. So you snapping, dog. You snapping.
Snapping. Listen, Onyx, you said some truth. You got to kill the old you, because you're doing something new. You're in a marriage. That's just like when I had my son. The old me, that be ready just to do a whole lot of stuff. Okay, she kind of is there still. She be creeping out every now and then. But for the most part, I've learned how to settle when somebody make me mad and be ready to just touch them. I think about, I have a son now.
Yes.
You know, so now I think differently. The old me, I felt like I died when I gave birth. I'm gonna tell you that 18 hours of love. I want to say hell, love, and I want to do it again, which is crazy. And that's what we do with love. That's why we do, even with marriage, when it fails, or when you're trying to get married or break up in a bad relationship and go to another one, even though it may have caused so much pain, for some reason, them endorphins in our brains say, do it again.
It's because we're all scared to take that L. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was just gonna we have a couple of comments. So Sonia Cooper Bag said exactly, soul suckers. We also have Cavasia Williams said that you can't handcuff your spouse. Last comment is, you are God, and the word love does not have a definitive definition.
It doesn't.
Was the last comment on that.
That's a good ideology to piggyback on right there, going back into the conversation, is people like to think, oh, I fell in love, then that means it was accidental. You didn't fall. Love in itself is not even an emotion. Like people say, oh God, I love you, and when he left me, my heart was broken. No, if your heart was broken, that's called a heart attack. That's called cardiac arrest, when your heart breaks. No, what it is mentally, we've been given a fundamental to idealize. And we walk through our life holding it like the Holy Grail. We're going to find love, unconditional love. We make ourselves feel it within our vessel simply with our mind. And that's why we're so devastated when it's over. Like we say, the heart and the mind are in conflict. No, they're not. The mind controls everything in your body. If your mind stops, your heart is going to stop. That's just medical science. So they're not fighting. What it is you're fighting a narrative that you've been taught. Love is supposed to be this and it's supposed to be that. That's why people from different cultures and different countries, all and different religions, all have different distinct views on what love really is. It's what you were taught. And conversely, it basically comes down to what feels right for you.
Right.
Some people are good with the control. Some people want to be told when to eat, when to sleep. Some people want to be kept, men and women, and don't have to make a decision. And some people are natural alphas and they seek out those people. And then some people are just in the middle and they just seek out other unicorns like them. But we all are drawn to what we're drawn to. But it makes me think of something that Oprah said a long time ago, that not only are you responsible for the energy you put out in the world, you are also responsible for the energy that you allow into your realm, which means when somebody, and it's funny because coming off of Oprah makes you think about Cat Williams. It's like, it's the same statement just said for two different audiences. If a woman is in her 30s and 40s and she's still saying dudes ain't crap, she has to think about what in herself keeps attracting these crappy dudes.
Right.
Because eventually it's the energy that it's like you casting a line when you're fishing. If you're leading with your sexuality, you're going to pull in a bunch of sexual partners. If you're leading with your mind, you're probably going to pull in less partners, but pull in more complementary partners.
Quality over quantity.
There you go. There you go.
And that's so true. I just was having a conversation earlier with an ex that I've been praying for my partner. I've been praying. And now when you pray, the old ones might try to creep in too.
Yep.
Oh, they must have got a wind of the prayer somewhere down the line. But they heard half of it. But they didn't hear that I ain't with the shit no more. I'm not dealing with y'all like that. But the phone call was, why don't you want to see me or talk to me? And I said, well, because you're still doing the same thing and I'm doing something new. The new me don't want to love the old you. And I'm okay with that. But I don't want to go backwards. I don't want to be a revolving door.
Definitely.
So what you said made total sense. Like, and I said, I had to walk away from situations, say, what? And I'm piggybacking off what you said, Onyx, about your fish line. I was like, what am I doing, God, to keep attracting these malicious men, these like alcoholics, these, like, what am I doing to attract these broken men? And he literally told me point blank, like, you're broken. Right. No matter how fabulous you look here and how you do wonderful shows around the world, you're broken. And I cried. And I was like, well, where do I start to heal? And it went down to my father. So I had to go back to history of being a baby in my mom's womb, to that 2-year-old that was told, oh, I'm on my way, and he never showed up, to that 9-year-old that got left with a friend that touched me. I had to go back through all of that to heal. Now I get it. But lately, Onyx, you also said, you know, when you fish in the right way with your mind and not your flesh, you may get somebody. You may get a few, but you ain't gonna get all. I went from having 15 men calling me a day and gone throw in 3 women, let's be honest.
There you go.
To now, I got maybe 1 person, maybe 2, that have a decent conversation.
It's
that
what
wants
feeds
to
your
know
spirit.
me.
It's
Right.
what feeds your spirit. And the
Absolutely.
and to go back and see, it's the life coach in me that just wanted to jump in right then when you said the thing about being broken. As far as the attraction, it's not so much the brokenness. It's, and this is a retarded word that I'm making up myself here, but I'm explaining it. It's the fixedness, meaning it's the nurturer in you. It's the empath in you. It's the Bob the Builder in you. And like E40 said it, it's the Captain Save-A-Ho in you
Right.
that will keep attracting broken people. See, darkness likes light because darkness knows that it can overtake and absorb the light. So when you're walking around and you have a bright spirit and you're shining, you will keep attracting demons because they want your light, they want your shine, and for lack of a better term, they want to be fixed too. There is something
I got
inherently
the
in all
fixer
of us.
spirit.
There you go. There you go. So you're going to keep attracting broken, because I had to get on
All
my
right,
knees
y'all.
one day and say, universe, ancestors, mama, daddy, all y'all, please listen. I took off the hard hat, the tool belt. I'm done. I ain't fixing nobody else. Next person you send to me, they better be 100% whole, because I ain't got time for these shenanigans.
Right.
Listen, I don't know how many viewers are out there, but how many of y'all are some freaking fixers?
Right.
We need to
Probably
go to
all
Onyx
of
on some
us.
one-on-one fixer with anonymous.
Fixers Anonymous, yes.
Yes, it's a plethora of us, because especially with women, we are naturally predisposed. I have the most beautifulest granddaughter, right? I call her my angry Asian. And my son is delightfully broken. Any of y'all that follow me on Facebook, y'all see my gorgeous man child all the time. I love him to death, but he's the bane of my existence. But to watch his daughter, who just turned 4, if my son is angry or off kilter, she will instantly walk up to him no matter what and touch it. She caresses his face and say, "Are you okay?" Because she Asian, she can't pronounce
Naturally,
her
and she's a
R's,
baby.
but she's a fixer. She senses it in his spirit that there's
Yeah.
something wrong. And that's what we as women,
Naturally.
we naturally do. And in the men you come across, it determines, it depends on the kind of woman he was raised by. If he was raised by the bitter woman, he's not really going to have a high regard for women's emotions. He's going to be that controller, that narcissist, that ball of toxic, that what I call toxic masculinity. If he was raised by a nurturer, most women will call him weak. Oh, he's emotional. Oh, he want to talk about this stuff. He want to feel it out. And it's like, well, which one do you want, woman? Do you want him to feel you out or go upside your head?
Exactly. You said I ain't fixing shit.
Man,
it's above my pay grade. I know that's right. It is not my scope of practice.
I retired that fixer role, and that's something definitely to pick off is that fixer. And that's actually myself. I've been going through a lot of shadow work myself, and I'm finding that I'm definitely a fixer. I'm one of those people that, and it's not even just romantic partners that I do this with. This is generally anybody that I have a familial relationship with. It's as soon as you tell me, oh, this is what's going on, I'm immediately thinking in my head all of these ways to help you fix your problem. And what I had to learn to do is be like, okay, no, stop that. Because what you're doing is you're stretching yourself, you're exhausting yourself, you're putting forth too much energy, and that's draining you. But then what I also had to realize as well, especially with some of my other relationships, with that fixer, there's also a level of egotism in there as well.
Right.
especially for those who like those women who make more and do those other things and they want to nurture. There's also a level of egocentrism that's in there that kind of, I think of the for the way I had described it is that altruism is kind of centered in egotism. So it's one of those things that you have to be careful with that and those like relationship dynamics as well. But absolutely, that giver role is highly sought after by people who are broken. And then I
Yes.
also feel like
Right.
you also attract your mirror. So there's things in you when you're in a relationship, you attract those who mirror that.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have issues with people, if you don't like a particular thing about somebody, if you think about it and kind of dissect it long enough, you'll figure out, well, that's something that I actually don't like in myself. So I need
Right.
to start healing, and then healing through those parts. That's how you get to that quality over quantity, because
Right.
then you'll start attracting those people that because you've healed that particular part in yourself. Now you'll know
Yeah.
and be more energetically aware to not to pick up on that signal, that red flag, and be like, I know what that is. I don't want it. Bye. Like
Right.
immediately, just like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah.
Nice
I
try.
you and you know one well another thing that was just that damaged our relationship is because my husband became insecure as
Mm.
well. And when I met him, he was this cocky man, and I mean not cocky, but he drawed
Confident.
me in because I thought confident. And when he got to know me and see my hustle and my grind, and he wasn't either doing as much as me or not, he started to feel threatened by that. And I told him, I married you. I love you. Right now, I'm carrying the weight for us. And I accepted that role. But that don't mean it needs to go on for 5 years.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Maybe like 1 or 2 years on your butt, maybe. But if you're trying to do something, I'm gonna have your back. But if you're not, I can't feel comfortable coming home from a regular job, going to massage therapy school, dancing at night, then coming home and you want me to give you oral sex? I don't even no. Why am I
She
going to
should have
do
seen
that?
the ATL mix last week.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And it's like I never wanted to cheat because, in my opinion, I know we got a question saying, what's our view on cheating? Like, I'm not big on cheating. Like, I'm with you. Whether I dated my female partner or whether I was with my male partner. I'm not a cheater, because then you got to come up with lies and then you got to figure out who you told what to. No. So I don't agree with it, but he felt like he had to prove himself that he could still get girls, but you're married. Like, what are you proving?
Toxic masculinity.
Exactly. He had to prove to himself. His own self was beefing with himself.
It was
So
that
he would,
narrative.
Right.
in his head, and he cheated. And I could, oh, you're good. Go ahead, Don.
Oh, that was just saying, because the question I posted, someone just inboxed me and asked me to ask that question. But she gave a little bit more detail. I just didn't type it all, because she was asking what was our view on cheating. Hold on, let me look at my phone. What was our view on cheating, and have you ever been cheated in a relationship? She said the last relationship I was in, I asked this question up front. Because prior to that, every relationship I had been in, all my partners cheated on me. And I'm trying to figure out why I always attract partners that cheat. But when I posed the question to this last person that I'm currently dating, they were offended by the question. And now we've been going back and forth with the question of them saying that I'm insecure and they're not a cheater.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Go. No, me and Onyx like, wait, but Onyx, your answer may be a little more politically correct, because I was getting ready to say.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna answer it from experience and from the psychological perspective.
There you go.
To piggyback Don, but what I want you to do while I'm saying this is message the person back and ask them, in reference to them saying all their relationships they were in, they got cheated on. I want to know if he or she stayed after the cheating.
If they stayed, okay.
In each one after the cheating.
Well, they watching the show, so you watching
okay.
the show. Can you please inbox me?
Let Don know. Right. Let Don know. And it's important to know why. And I'm going to launch into why. So now I've only been married once. I didn't get married until I was 38 years old. Divorce was just final like 3 weeks ago. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And I ended the marriage. But we got together. Okay, this is bad. I met her. She was married to a woman. And I was actually coaching them. And we didn't get together till after the fact. I didn't break no rules, nothing like that.
Okay,
the funniest
Onyx.
thing, I'm so serious. The funniest thing ever is they were my friends and they found out that I was a coach. So they both started individually imparting into me what was wrong in the relationship. So I told them, if y'all both gonna confide in me, we got to sit down together because you telling me one thing, you telling me one thing, and I'm hanging with y'all, it ain't adding up.
Right.
So we need to see whose truth. Y'all, both of y'all got a truth, but I need to see the realness of it. So long story short, they ended up, both of them kind of wanted to get with me. I didn't want to get with either one, to be completely honest. And then a little while after they ended, I ended up getting with the femme instead of the masculine one, because the masculine one, I'd have killed her. And she was ugly anyway. She was ugly. She wasn't my type. I'm just saying.
Just say she was not the apple of your eye, friend.
No. She was ugly. She tried to come for me. She was ugly. Anybody else I just like,
God.
But I mean, people get mad when a film take their woman, the kids, the car, the dog, the house. That wasn't my fault. But anyway, that's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, when we first got together, I knew my wife had the propensity to cheat because I knew her. She had told me she had cheated before. She cheated on me. Like clockwork, within 3 weeks, she was sleeping with the ex.
Wow.
I stayed, though. That was why I asked the lady the question. I stayed. The reason people cheat on you, the first time they cheat on you, it's because, honestly, there is no reason. They just freaking wanted to. That was it. The opportunity presented itself. They took it. That was it. That was all. It's not no baby. We was arguing. We ain't been on the same page. I just needed some. You did not slip and fall into no poo-poo la-la.
You did not. And I'm sorry, real quick, Onyx, and I want you to finish, but that's so true because I currently had a conversation with a gentleman and he said, when you are the woman or even with your partner, period, man or woman, when you have someone that you really are into and you want them, you want to wait on them and you don't want to date nobody else. You want them. Like there's no calling the ex. There's no, I'm going to go out and go find another girl to have sex with. They really want you. Mm-hmm. And you just said something that brought that to my attention because you said people cheat just because ain't no reason. They'll just do it.
They do because here's the thing. It feels good. Somebody wanting you inherently as humans, it feels good. And yes, you may be more open and susceptible to it, the temptation, because you're not getting something. Right. But that's still not a reason. I used to tell my wife all the time, baby, when you told me to lie, to go meet up with the person, you had an opportunity to change your mind. When you got to the hotel, you had an opportunity to change your mind. All the way up until where you was butt naked and the first touch took place. And even then, you had an opportunity to say, oh my God, this is not right. I have to go. You had every opportunity. You kept going because it felt good and it was what you wanted. It fed you at that moment. Now, the ramifications and the repercussions, now you got to deal with that on your own. But from a psychological perspective, is what your grandma said was true. People only do what you allow them to do. So if I allow you to cheat on me and I forgive you that very first time, I literally just gave you permission to continue to do it because I literally didn't give you any repercussions. You had to listen to me cry and yell and scream or however it goes down in each person's house. But I'm still here in the morning.
Yeah.
I forgave you. I didn't forget. And it's going to come up later and we're going to go back and forth about it. But I still kind of, by my presence still being here, I kind of told you it was okay. And that in us, you know how they say predators can sense a victim a mile away? An emotional vampire, a succubus, whatever you want to call them, they can spot it a mile away. So people who have it in them to cheat, who have little regard for other people's feelings, and it's all about their gratification, they can sense that very small pinhole of weakness in you that may say, well, it was only one time and I done put all this work in this and we really weren't connecting and I haven't gave him none in 3 months. Maybe I should have. Okay. I forgive you, baby. Don't let it happen again. Guarantee $1 to a bucket of snot, it's going to happen again. Because you accepted it with no repercussions. It's just like if you go rob Fort Knox and you don't end up sitting in San Quentin, you probably going to rob somewhere else.
You gonna go, yeah.
Because it was good.
Or like
And that's what we do.
Storm the Capitol building and you don't get arrested for that.
Right.
You gonna do that again.
Listen.
Yeah. Oh, you're definitely gonna do it again. You know, you're
Okay,
definitely
I
gonna
got
do it
the
again.
answer to the question.
Okay.
She said she did stay in 2 of the relationships where they cheated prior, but this finna get real deep. She said that the current person that she is now dating, she cheated on them because she expected them to cheat on her. So she cheated. I'm sorry. Let me, because I was trying to cap. Hold on. She cheated on her last partner. Hold on. She cheated on the last partner with the current person she's with now. So the person she's with now, she got with them by cheating on the last person that she was with.
It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
That's why they're probably arguing because she cheated with
And
her.
now she's questioning.
And now she's questioning, will you cheat again?
Well, no, not that. The person who asked the question is the one who got cheated on and cheated in the last relationship.
Right.
Yeah, it's not gonna work
that's
because the
gonna be a
person
tough
she's
one.
asking was her side chick. So that's like saying, hey, baby, I know I cheated on my girl with you, but now that I'm all yours, I'm gonna be
Will you
all
cheat
yours.
on me?
Are you gonna cheat on me? It's like, dude, for real, stop playing with me.
Wow,
It's
you
like
ask yourself
maybe,
that.
right? It's like maybe.
Wow.
And I'm sorry to sound so
Maybe-
doomsday. I'm sorry. I don't want to sound doomsday, but I've seen it happen.
A person
And
that
it's,
cheats, they like cheated.
yeah. And then for you, and at some point, the person she's with now had to have known that she was playing a position of the other chick. So
Side
it's
chicks like being side chicks.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not a full-time job.
Yeah.
You come
it's
in and get
part-time.
out. It's part-time. They don't want the whole responsibility.
You get partial benefits, you know.
Right. You're not responsible.
And that's the thing. And that's what people like these days. Everything these days is about convenience. Even with counseling, believe it or not, I had somebody reach out to me to ask me my pricing, and I told them that I normally do like a month. You know, I don't try to sell people on a 6-month package. I give you a month. You know, we're gonna do it weekly. Bop, bop, bop. You're gonna have assignments. You're gonna get homework in your email. I'm very thorough. We're gonna hit the topics. We're gonna do what we gotta do. And at the end of that 4 weeks, we're gonna determine if you need more. This one lady asked me, well, I mean, 4 weeks, I mean, that's a really long time, and I'm real busy. Like, can we speed it up? I said, well, sweetie, how fast do you go through life?
Yeah.
I said, if you always doing 90 and a 35, you wonder why you looking for a life coach? And I'm also that life coach that will talk to you just like that. I curse. I'm not going to hold no punches because life is not going to hold any punches.
Right.
You know, that lover who's cheating on you is not going to spare your feelings. They're only going to keep it a secret long enough to keep it convenient for them. Because they already don't care about your feelings. So once it's no longer convenient for them, they're going to tell you what they're doing. That's life. It's going to keep going, and it's going to punch you in the face. It's all whether you die, if you can dodge and move, what you going to do?
Right.
Okay, so to kind of pick y'all back, because this is we're actually gonna have to do a part 2 to this.
Part 2. I'm about to say we got to do a part 2 for this.
So before we have one last question, but before we get to the question, I want to make sure that everybody who's watching knows where to follow you two ladies. So if Showstopper, you can go really quickly again, just let everybody know where to follow you, where they can find you, and then after Onyx, you can give before we have our last question for the night.
Nice. Perfect. So again, thank you guys for sitting here talking with us. I'm the Showstopper. Inside of my question box at the bottom, that is my IG. It is also my Facebook. If you're interested in the online courses that I teach, no matter where you are, if you're here in Atlanta, you could go online and register for actual classes in studio, limited space because of COVID, but you can go to verticaljoesfitness.com. It's spelled the exact same way, verticaljoesfitness.com. And come hang out with me.
Absolutely. And yeah, Onyx, if you can just again give your information really quickly so people know where to find you if they want to take advantage of the counseling or any other the many hats that you have.
Sure thing. Instead of running through the whole list of all the different pages, because I spell everything phonetically, so it'll take too long. It's easier just find me on Facebook under Black Fire, which is BLAQPHIRE. And then there's links to all of my pages for Live Enviously, for Envious Events, for Onyx the Authoress. Everything is right there on
Nice.
Facebook.
Okay, and at the end of the show, when we repost the show online on Facebook, we'll make sure to copy both of your pages on there so they can go right to it and be able to do that. But Don, you said you had one question, our last question.
It's really a statement. Because again, I'm having a little side conversation over here about a person that's dating. If you're dating and you are upfront and honest and you let that person know that you are dating multiple people, that is not cheating. Now,
That's
if
not
that
cheating.
person decides to be in a relationship with you, but you're not in a relationship with them, that's a
That's
whole nother mental level, because we do have people that do that, because it's happened to me where I've told someone I was dating other people, but this person was in a whole relationship with me that I knew nothing about. So,
yes. We're gonna have to definitely
that's
talk
how
about that in part two.
Yes,
Definitely.
absolutely.
Definitely.
so we definitely could follow this up next Sunday if you ladies are available.
Yep,
I
yep.
like
Just let me
it. I
know.
like it. I think I might have to come back in here and be the opposite of everything.
Yeah.
That'll work. That'll work.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think we could definitely do that. So we'll definitely make sure you guys your schedules are available for next Sunday.
Okay.
I definitely think this should absolutely be a part two. Because
Yes.
honestly, we haven't even scratched the surface as far as the main topic,
Right.
which is who did I marry? So
And we went like 30 minutes over because our show is usually like an hour.
yeah.
Right.
But it's good information though. It is definitely good information. Again, I want to thank both of you ladies
Thank
for
you.
sharing space with
Thank
us
you.
and allowing us in and coming through. Like I said, we're definitely going to make sure we have a part two to have both of you back
Thank
to
you.
do
Thank
this.
you.
So, are there any really quick? Are there any parting words, advice on anything that we kind of talked to kind of give the people before we go out?
I'm
Well,
leaving that
for
Onyx.
I gave
I'm leaving
mine.
that to Onyx.
well, for me, I would just like to say, with keeping with the theme of the whole relationship and who did I marry, we first must understand who we are before
Absolutely.
we decide
Ashe.
to enter into the covenant of marriage. And once
Ashe.
we do, we need to know, it's just like a contract. We need to know all the bylaws and all the small print that's in the contract, what they expect, what do you expect, what makes them happy, what makes you happy, and then move accordingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll just say, listen, we been, but we are not about to motherfucking break.
There
Okay?
you go.
Figure it out.
All right. Absolutely. So thank you again, ladies. Just to let
Thank
everybody
you.
know, if you've also already bought your tickets for the Valentine's Day show for the Punani Poets, be sure to head over either to Coffee Talk or coffeetv.com or punanitv.com. You can go and log on for your on demand to see the amazing show that you're going to be able to see for Valentine's Day the Punani Poets way. So again, thank you so much for tuning in for Coffee Talk Radio. Be sure to go to coffeetalk.com to sign up on the social media sites so you can follow us. You'll also get notifications of the part two of this amazing show because I'm sure there's going to be a lot more comments, a lot more situations that we need to talk about in regarding to this. So definitely stay tuned. Come back every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Good night. Oh, yeah, let me.